Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at a machine that proves the automotive engineers over in South Korea have a rather interesting, almost cynical sense of humor. We are talking about the brand new 2026 Hyundai Palisade. Now, here's a fun, completely absurd fact to kick things off. This family hauler has packed on so much luxury and technology weight that the hybrid version now tips the scales at over 5,000 pounds. Yet, ironically, by actually downsizing the primary engine and bolting two electric motors inside the transmission case, they have somehow made this heavyweight the fastest Palisade ever built. They shrank the internal combustion engine, increased the curb weight, and effectively built a three-row family muscle car that also happens to feature a tiny ultraviolet sterilization bed in the center console so your smartphone does not give you a bacterial infection. It's a brilliant contradiction. And I promise you, the engineering math behind it is just as fascinating as it is bizarre. We're going to strip away the brochure fluff and look at exactly what your money buys you in the 2026 model year. Hyundai has decided to mess with a winning formula, tossing the old 3.8-liter engine into the history books and completely redesigning the powertrain lineup from the ground up. The marketing department wants you to believe this is the ultimate evolution of the family sport utility vehicle. But is it actual engineering brilliance or just a clever illusion wrapped in very expensive Napa leather? We're going to dive deep into the real-world fuel economy, the actual stopping distances, the torque splits, and the brutal truth about what happens when you ask a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine to drag 2.5 tons of American family up a steep highway on-ramp. Stick around because the raw numbers do not lie, even when the dealerships try to. Let us start with the skeleton and the muscle of this Korean dreadnought. The exterior dimensions of the 2026 Hyundai Palisade have been stretched and widened to give it the footprint of a small commercial aircraft. You are looking at an overall length of 199.4 inches, which translates to 5,065 millimeters. The width is 78 inches, or 1,980 millimeters, and the height reaches up to 71.1 inches depending on whether you have the factory roof racks installed. It rides on a massive wheelbase of 116.9 inches. To put those numbers into perspective, you will need every single inch of your standard suburban garage to park this thing without taking off a side mirror. And then there's the curb weight. The base front-wheel drive internal combustion models start at a relatively modest 4,171 pounds. But if you opt for the fully loaded Calligraphy hybrid with all-wheel drive, you are hauling around 5,032 pounds of glass, steel, and lithium-ion battery. Under the hood, Hyundai has given you two completely different engineering philosophies to choose from. The standard gas engine is a newly developed 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6. It replaces the old outgoing 3.8-liter engine, losing a little displacement but churning out 287 horsepower at 6,400 revolutions per minute and 260 pound-feet of torque at 5,000 revolutions per minute. The direct-injected engine is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission utilizing a 2-chamber torque converter. If you need to tow your family boat, this standard V6 is your reliable workhorse, rated for a maximum towing capacity of 5,000 pounds. It is traditional, it is mechanically predictable, and yes, it is fairly thirsty. But the real headline for the 2026 model year is the hybrid powertrain. Hyundai took a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline four-cylinder engine that produces 258 horsepower on its own. Then, they boldly bolted two electric motors directly into the case of the new 6-speed automatic transmission. Let me be clear, there is no continuously variable transmission rubber band nonsense here, just actual physical gears shifting. These electric motors draw their power from a 1.65 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack, operating at 300 volts. The combined system output is a highly respectable 329 horsepower and an incredibly stout 339 pound-feet of torque. This translates to a 0 to 60 miles per hour acceleration time that will genuinely surprise the guy sitting next to you at the stoplight. In real-world passing scenarios, the hybrid accelerates from 30 to 50 miles per hour in just 3.8 seconds and from 50 to 70 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds, beating the old V6 by a very noticeable margin. Bringing over 5,000 pounds of forward momentum to a sudden halt is a serious physical challenge. Hyundai has equipped the Palisade with four-wheel ventilated disc brakes and a standard electronic anti-lock braking system. Independent testing shows that it takes exactly 172 feet to come to a complete, controlled stop from 70 miles per hour. That's right in line with the lighter outgoing model, meaning the engineers successfully upgraded the braking friction to compensate for the added hybrid battery weight. As for fuel consumption, the Environmental Protection Agency claims the front-wheel drive Blue Trim Hybrid will achieve 33 miles per gallon in the city, 35 miles per gallon on the highway, and 34 miles per gallon combined. This yields a theoretical, internally targeted driving range of 619 miles on its 18.2-gallon fuel tank. However, our hard facts show that the all-wheel drive hybrid, when pushed in the real world over 1,500 miles, averaged closer to 25 miles per gallon. It is still a vast improvement over the V6 engine, but don't expect compact hybrid numbers when you're driving an apartment building. For those who actually think they are going to take their three-row family hauler rock crawling, Hyundai introduced the XRT Pro trim level. It adds an electronic rear limited slip differential, bespoke all-terrain tires measuring 255 millimeters wide on 18-inch wheels, and raises the overall ground clearance to a tall 8.4 inches. It improves the approach angle to 20.5 degrees and the departure angle to 22.4 degrees. It is mostly designed to tackle muddy suburban soccer fields and poorly plowed snowy driveways, but the mechanical grip provided by the advanced all-wheel drive system is legitimately effective when the pavement ends. Moving inside the cabin, the interior of the 2026 Hyundai Palisade is where you realize exactly where all your hard-earned money went. The total interior volume is a cavernous 181 cubic feet. You get 44.2 inches of legroom in the front row, 43 inches of legroom in the second row, and even the third row offers a tolerable 32.1 inches of legroom for the kids or your least favorite adult friends. Cargo space is equally massive and highly flexible. Behind the third row, you have 19.1 cubic feet of trunk space. Fold the third row down, and that expands to 46.3 cubic feet. Drop both rear rows completely flat, and you are staring at 86.7 cubic feet of total cargo volume, making it large enough to easily transport a medium-sized household refrigerator. The materials and build quality in the upper trims are dangerously close to stepping on German luxury territory. If you step up to the top-tier Calligraphy trim level, you are instantly greeted by premium Nappa leather upholstery, an ergo-motion driver's seat that actively adjusts internal air pockets to reduce driving fatigue, and powered leg cushion extensions. Both the first and second rows offer active heated and ventilated relaxation seats, and yes, even the third row passengers get heated seats of their own. Hyundai clearly knows that keeping the children quiet and comfortable is the ultimate family luxury, so they also included acoustic laminated glass on the windshield and the front and rear doors to dramatically isolate the cabin from exterior wind and tire noise. The technology suite inside this vehicle is anchored by a massive dual panoramic curved display that seamlessly merges a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster with a matching 12.3-inch infotainment display touchscreen. It features fast wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, standard over-the-air software updates, and computer processing speeds that finally do not feel like they are powered by a decade-old potato. Audio duties are handled by a 14-speaker Bose premium surround sound system that packs enough wattage and clarity to make your digital rearview mirror vibrate. And then there's the absolute best party trick. The center console features a built-in ultraviolet C sterilization tray. You drop your keys, wallet, and smartphone in there, close the lid, and the car blasts them with radiation to kill the germs. It is the most delightfully paranoid feature I have ever seen engineered into a motor vehicle, and I absolutely love the fact that it exists. When it comes to the opinion analysis and the reality of the automotive market, the Palisade is throwing heavy, calculated punches at established rivals like the Kia Telluride, the Honda Pilot, and the Toyota Highlander. Based on a strict mechanical breakdown of the components, the shift to the 2.5-liter turbocharged hybrid is a brilliant move for long-term reliability. The previous generations of Hyundai hybrid systems have proven themselves to be quite robust, and utilizing a traditional 6-speed automatic transmission instead of a continuous variable transmission eliminates a massive mechanical failure point that plagues so many other hybrid sport utility vehicles on the market today. The overall cost of ownership is presented on a very wide sliding scale. The base front-wheel drive V6 internal combustion model starts at $38,935, which represents a genuine bargain in today's inflated market. But if you want the fully loaded Calligraphy hybrid with the all-wheel drive system, the manufacturer's suggested retail price aggressively climbs to a hefty $60,380. Real reviews from actual owners consistently praise the planted, incredibly stable ride provided by the active electronic suspension system, which constantly reads the road and actively adjusts the hydraulic dampers to keep the heavy body from wallowing and bouncing through fast corners. It is finally time for the ultimate verdict. Let us start with the specific praises and the undeniable strengths, because there are quite a few of them. The 2026 Hyundai Palisade, particularly in its new electrified hybrid configuration, is a triumph of interior packaging and sophisticated powertrain integration. The combined 329 horsepower output from the 2.5-liter turbocharged hybrid system is buttery smooth, offering instant electric torque exactly when needed for aggressive highway merging. The engineering decision to use a geared 6-speed automatic transmission makes it drive and shift like a normal, highly responsive automobile rather than a droning, soulless golf cart. The interior material quality is simply unmatched at this specific price point, and the sheer volume of acoustic insulation makes it one of the quietest passenger cabins in its entire segment. However, we must address the clear shortcomings with sharp criticism, because absolutely nothing is perfect. The sheer physical mass of this vehicle is undeniable and problematic. Tipping the scales at over 5,000 pounds inherently compromises the vehicle's ultimate fuel efficiency. While the Environmental Protection Agency boldly claims 34 miles per gallon, my professional assessment based on the collected real-world data tells you to realistically expect fuel economy in the mid-20s during mixed daily driving, with the heavy all-wheel drive system constantly engaged. Furthermore, if you plan on towing heavy loads frequently, the hybrid model's towing capacity drops to only 4,000 pounds, compared to the 5,000 pounds offered by the standard V6 engine. You are directly sacrificing raw utility for instant electric torque and a slight bump in fuel economy. And let us be brutally honest for a moment, the XRT Pro trim level, while looking visually aggressive with its exposed red recovery hooks and dark trim, is mostly off-road cosplay. You are certainly not taking a luxury vehicle with a 116.9-inch wheelbase over the jagged rocks of the Rubicon Trail without tearing the undercarriage to pieces. So, we arrive at the final question. Is the 2026 Hyundai Palisade actually worth your hard-earned dollars, or is it just a clever marketing exercise dressed up in fancy two-tone paint? The answer is a resounding and definitive yes, it is absolutely worth the money. Hyundai has somehow managed to take a vehicle that was already exceptionally good and fix its only real flaw, the lack of a modern, punchy, fuel-efficient electrified powertrain. They have successfully built an incredibly comfortable, highly advanced rolling isolation chamber that perfectly protects you and your family from the miseries of the daily commute. It is a witty, highly perceptive piece of engineering that delivers on its promises with raw, quantifiable performance rather than empty slogans. If you have $60,000 sitting in the bank and a large family to transport, there are very few vehicles on the road today that will treat you better than this one.